Welcome to Devils in Red 59. My name is Stephen. Today is Saturday. Want to start off talking about what's come out in the news today that apparently Manchester United and Manchester City are about to go head to head on Elliot Anderson. Now, I believe that the fee is around £80 million that Nottingham Forest have said they will sort of accept for Elliot Anderson. But it could rise as high as 100 million with a bidding war between the two clubs. Now, I think that Manchester United will be quite um, happy to go to the 100 million against City to try and get their number one midfield target. But I think where the issue will come in will be on the wages. Obviously, Manchester City are going to be able to offer quite a bit more money than Manchester United. As we all know, United have got a new price structure in relation to wages in place, and they certainly don't really want to exceed the £200,000 a week. Whereas Man City, I think they would be quite happy to go to the 250, maybe towards a £300,000 a week. So that's where a stumbling block's likely to come, and that would then come back on Elliot Anderson to make his decision as to which club he favours. Now, I know it's previously been reported by Ben Jacobs that Elliot Anderson's not necessarily going to go for the big wage. He's a player that is more likely to go for a team that he believes has got a good project and good foundations in place. So it's not set in concrete that he would automatically go for the bigger wage. Also, with Manchester City having this 115 against them, which seems an awful long time being dealt with when you look at the teams last year that were subject to financial fair play and they lost points and got found money and that for not complying. They were all dealt with very quickly, at the early start of the season. We now sort of 10, 11 games away from the season finishing, so you have to ask yourself a question: are they actually going to deal with Manchester City in the 115 this time of the season? I don't think they will. If anything, I think it's going to be probably throughout the summer period or even the start of next season. So Elliot Anderson, he's going to have that in the back of his mind at some point. These charges have got to be answered, and there's probably going to be a large points deduction. Now, obviously, it'll come down to the player himself as to whether he wants to have that sort of thing going on around him. And also, with Pep's future still being uncertain as to whether he'll stay on or whether he'll go at the end of this season, will also probably be another factor. Certain people seem to think that United do stand a very good chance of getting Elliot Anderson, so we'll just have to wait and see really what is going to go on there. Another story that's come out from Football Insider is reference our number two goalkeeper, Bayindir. Apparently, Bayindir is very, very unhappy at Manchester United. He signed a 4-year contract when he joined us in 2023, and he's only made about 17 appearances in that period of time. He was the understudy to Anana, and obviously now he's become the understudy to Lamens, and quite rightly. The games that Bayindir played under Amrin, he wasn't very impressive. He was letting in a lot of goals. He was very iffy on crosses and set pieces. And when Lamens come in the summer and started to play, the way he is now, I mean that's kept Bayindir out. So obviously Bayindir will be going at the end of this season into his last 12 months, and rumour has it that a deal has been struck between a club and Manchester United for the services of Bayindir in the summer, and it's been reported that it's in the region of 4.3 million. Now, in addition to that, obviously Marcus Rashford at Barcelona. Marcus Rashford is obviously in a situation where he wants to get his future all sorted out before the World Cup starts. The last thing he wants to do is be going to the World Cup, and at the end of the World Cup, his future's still not resolved, which means he'd have to report back to Carrington. Now, obviously, the player doesn't want that, and Manchester United don't want it. So talks between Rashford and Barcelona have been going on for a number of weeks. I believe there was a sticking point within the conversations that was held between the two parties, but I now believe that that has been resolved. I believe that Rashford has accepted taking a pay cut. So obviously things have been agreed between player and club. Now, obviously, the next step is obviously for Barcelona to make contact with Manchester United and say, look, we want to get this deal done before the end of the season and before the players go off to the World Cups, which is quite understandable. They will all want to know where they are if they're going to be leaving clubs and not still have it up in the air when the World Cup's finished. So, from Manchester United's point of view, it's been reported that they're going to stand on the price that they've initially set with Barcelona for Marcus Rashford services, which is, I believe, 30 million euros, which is 26 million pound. And they seem quite adamant that they're not going to move on that. Whether Barcelona will try the luck a bit and try and get a discount on it because they know that Manchester United don't want him back and they know that the player doesn't want to go back, will, you know, sort of leaves to be seen. But potentially between Bayindir and Rashford, if Barcelona pay the money that Manchester United want, then there is an additional revenue coming in of £30.3 million, which can obviously then go hopefully into the kitty for some of our new transfer targets we want to bring in the summer month. So obviously that'll be very welcomed revenue, along with the saving of Rashford's wages, a little bit that we pay Bayindir. I don't think he's on massive wages as a number two. I would suspect he's only on about maybe 50 to 70,000 a week. So you know it is a saving, and as we've said before, we've got savings coming in from now Anthony's wages, and we've got wages still to come in on a saving for Sancho and so forth. So Casemiro, another 300,000 a week. So the wage structure is being brought right down by Ineos. Some believe that's a good thing, and some believe that that's going to make it difficult for us to attract bigger names to bring into the club in the summer. But that's pretty much it on an update in reference to players. The injuries for tomorrow's game is pretty much the same as it has been for the last few weeks. Apparently, Mason Mount is close to getting back onto the bench. De Ligt and Dorgu, as we know, that they're an ongoing situation. So I don't expect any concrete news on De Ligt and Dorgu, probably until if if not the end of March, sometime early April. But then it's, if we pretty much secured Champions League, are they going to risk bringing De Ligt back? Because he's come back a couple of times into training, I believe, and he's had a problem with his back again, and obviously that's knocked him backwards again. So they may try and get through the rest of the season without using De Ligt. The Aston Villa and Wolves game yesterday was very good for Manchester United. Wolves, they pulled off a good victory and got 3 points, which is obviously kept Aston Villa at 51 points, and we're obviously on 48. So if we can, grab that 3 points tomorrow, then on goal difference, and that I believe we should go into third spot. Now, obviously, the interesting games that really concern us are today, where Liverpool host West Ham at Liverpool. Again, we know in the last couple of games that West Ham they've really lifted their game up, and obviously they're fighting relegation. I believe they're only 2 or 3 points behind getting out of the relegation bottom three. So hopefully West Ham today, the kickoff is at 3 o'clock. They can go to Liverpool and get some sort of a result. It'd be nice if they can grab the 3 points, but even if they grab a point, that puts a little bit more distance between Liverpool and us. Certainly, if we get our 3 points tomorrow, and then the other big game will be Arsenal and Chelsea at 4:30 tomorrow. The game is at Arsenal, and I expect Arsenal, certainly with trying to clinch the Premiership title, I expect them to grab the 3 points against Chelsea. So again, that's going to be good for us because it'll put a bigger distance, I think, of about 6 points between us and Chelsea, subject to us getting our 3 points tomorrow. So all in all, that's pretty much a brief update on today's news. Obviously, tomorrow we host Crystal Palace. We don't expect there to be any changes within the team, albeit there's a possibility that Sesko might start based on his form over the last few games when he's come off the bench and scored in all the games. So a lot of the fans and media are saying, give him his chance to start the game. And I think if Crystal Palace are going to be playing a low block, it might be to our advantage to start Sesko in that particular game to give us the height in the box and try and get crosses into him, and obviously break down Crystal Palace's defence and try and nick that early goal, certainly within the first 20 minutes. And then, as we know, under Michael Carrick, once he's got that first goal, he will drive the side forward to try and get the second, third, or whatever to try and kill the game off, which is always good. So, obviously, we're all keeping our fingers crossed for the game tomorrow. So, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video today. I did say it was probably going to be a lengthier video today, but obviously as we're playing tomorrow, I think I will do another after-match reaction so that we can talk about how the game's gone. Hopefully we'll all be excited and talking positive about we've gone into third and we got the 3 points that we most desperately needed, because each game now, until we secure Champions League football, is a cup game for us, and teams around us have been dropping off, as we could see with the Villa and Wolves game yesterday. Villa have really been suffering with their midfield being out. Liverpool haven't been at the best. Chelsea haven't been at the best. And Man City haven't realistically been at the best. I don't think there's much chance of us getting second spot, but certainly third's better than fourth, and it secures Champions League football that little bit more concrete for us. So obviously, thank you very much. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe and share the video, and I will be doing one tomorrow afternoon after the game's finished, so that we can hopefully report, as I say, a victory and the much needed 3 points. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. So stay safe and thank you very much.